years, I believed coffee was just a drink to stay awake, something I had every morning out of habit, without thinking much about it. It was that small ritual that marked the start of the day, the aroma that kept me company as the sun slipped in through the window. But one day, everything changed. At 60, my body began to send signals I could no longer ignore. My knees ached when I got up, my arms lost strength, and even climbing a few stairs felt like scaling a mountain. I thought it was simply part of getting older, something inevitable. Until, in a casual conversation, a doctor friend told me something that made me stop and think. Coffee can be your best ally, or your missed opportunity. It all depends on what you put in it. That sentence stuck with me. All my life I had looked for complex solutions to feel better. Vitamins, routines, expensive supplements, and it turns out the answer might have been right there in my cup every morning. I began to research, to try things, to watch how my body responded, and what I discovered surprised me more than I imagined. One simple change to my coffee transformed not only my energy, but also my mobility, my mental clarity, and even my mood. That is why today I want to share it with you. Because I know many of us after 60 feel that the body starts to lose strength and that pain becomes part of the routine. But it does not have to be that way. Sometimes, the smallest changes can produce the greatest results. In this video, I will tell you the surprising benefits of adding a single natural ingredient to your daily coffee. What you discover may help you stay active, strong, and free of pain, even if you are already past 60. And the best part is, you do not need to make great sacrifices or change your whole life. Just open your mind to a new way of caring for yourself, each morning, one cup at a time. Before we continue, I want to get to know you a little more. Tell me in the comments how many years you have and from which country you are listening to us. I would love to know how far this community reaches, this community that seeks to age with strength, with health, and with wisdom. Benefit 1. Naturally increases muscle strength. When we cross the barrier of 60, there is something we all begin to notice. Our muscles no longer respond the same. Climbing a staircase takes more effort. Opening a bottle feels like a challenge. And what used to be a simple walk now feels like a marathon. It is not only about losing strength, but about losing confidence in our own bodies. And that silent loss affects far more than we think. For years, I thought the solution was to exercise more. I tried lifting weights, walking more, following routines that promised to give me my vitality back. But no matter how hard I tried, my body did not react as before, until I understood something that changed my perspective. After 60, the body does not seek more effort, but efficiency. And here the ingredient I mentioned earlier comes into play: hydrolyzed collagen. This natural compound is the most abundant protein in the human body. It is part of the muscles, tendons, bones, and skin. With the years, its production drops dramatically, and that is why tissues begin to weaken. When I added collagen to my coffee, I did it without many expectations. But within a few weeks, I noticed something different. My legs no longer tired so quickly, and when I got out of bed, I felt a stability I had forgotten. It was not magic, it was science. Hydrolyzed collagen is made up of essential amino acids that the body uses to rebuild muscle fibers and repair tissue. And when you combine it with caffeine, something even more interesting happens. Caffeine acts as a natural catalyst, improving the absorption of nutrients and stimulating metabolism. In other words, it helps the body make better use of what you consume. Thus, every sip of coffee becomes a small dose of useful energy that strengthens from within. Over time, I began to feel that quiet energy that moves you without thinking. It was not an explosion of strength, but a sense of stability, of being able to trust again in my steps, in my arms, in my everyday gestures. I realized I did not need to train like a young person to stay strong. I just had to feed my muscles what they truly needed. I remember Carmen, a friend of 74 years, who heard me talk about this and decided to try it too. For years, she had struggled to get up from the sofa without support. She called me a month later and told me with a smile in her voice, "Now I can climb the stairs in my house without stopping. It does not hurt. I do not get tired. I feel like I have control of my body again." That confirmed for me that it was not just a change in diet, but a recovery of inner power. Because strength, after a certain age, is no longer measured by how much weight you lift, but by how much freedom you regain to move without fear. Adding collagen to my coffee was, literally, like giving strength back to my body without needing to train like I did at 20. It was a reminder that true youth is not in age, but in the ability to keep improving without giving up, even as time moves on. Benefit 2. Protects the joints and reduces pain. One of the first signs of the passage of time does not appear on the face, but in the knees. That small pain when getting up, that creak when bending down, or that moment when climbing stairs becomes a test of patience. For years I thought it was normal, that at a certain age the body simply wears out and there is not much to be done. But constant pain has a silent way of stealing your joy. It stops being a physical nuisance and becomes an emotional limitation. Everything changed when I understood what was really happening inside my joints. Over the years, cartilage, the soft layer that covers the bones and prevents them from rubbing against each other, begins to deteriorate. It thins, it dries, and it loses elasticity. That causes friction, inflammation, and pain. And most importantly, the body no longer produces collagen as efficiently as before. From 50 onward, the natural production of this protein can drop by almost half. And without collagen, cartilage cannot fully repair itself. That is why, when I started adding hydrolyzed collagen to my coffee, I did it hoping to ease the stiffness that had accompanied me for years. I did not expect miracles, but little by little, something changed. At first, I hardly noticed a difference. However, by the third week, my knees no longer hurt when I climbed the steps to the porch, and the most curious thing was that I did not realize it right away. It was my wife who pointed it out with a smile. "Today you went up without holding the railing." That small detail made me pause. For the first time in a long time, pain was not the first thing I thought about when I moved. And that, believe me, feels like recovering a part of yourself you thought was lost. What happens is simple, although it is rarely explained this way. Hydrolyzed collagen acts like a set of building blocks for the joints. It provides the amino acids the body needs to repair cartilage tissue and strengthen ligaments. It also improves internal hydration in those areas, which reduces friction between the bones and, with it, pain. Caffeine, for its part, does more than give energy. It helps the body process nutrients better and increases blood flow, delivering those repairing substances exactly where they are most needed. Over time, I understood that it was not a trick nor a trend. It was simply giving the body back what it had stopped producing, and that made a huge difference. I began to walk more, not because I wanted to exercise, but because I wanted to feel that freedom in my legs. I could squat, twist, move with confidence. It was not a total recovery, but it was a reconciliation with my own body. I remember stopping one day to think, how many years did I live putting up with this pain as if it were normal? Sometimes aging hurts not because of what we lose, but because of what we stop trying to recover. Because it is not only about moving without pain, but about learning to trust our bodies again. Benefit 3. Improves digestion and gut health. There is a truth we learn with age. Digestion becomes more delicate over time. At 30, you can eat almost anything without consequences. At 60, the body begins to react differently. Sometimes the stomach inflames easily, heartburn shows up after coffee, or a sense of heaviness appears after something as simple as soup or fruit. I went through that myself. For a while, every cup of coffee I drank left an irritation in my chest, an acidity that took hours to fade. I thought about giving it up, but coffee was one of the few pleasures that kept me company every morning. That was when I discovered the problem was not coffee itself, but what my body could no longer process well. The digestive system, just like muscles or joints, also ages. The lining of the intestine, which acts as a protective barrier, weakens with the years. Tiny particles of food or bacteria can cross it, causing inflammation and discomfort. And when that happens, the entire body feels it, from energy levels to mood. This was where collagen surprised me again. This protein does not only help muscles or joints, it also strengthens the intestinal wall. Its peptides act like natural repair crews, sealing the small fissures that appear over time. It is as if they reinforced the bricks of an old house that had begun to crack. Each cup with collagen became, little by little, a small session of internal repair. After a few weeks, I noticed the change. The heartburn disappeared, digestion became lighter, and most curious of all, I began to feel more awake and in a better mood. I never imagined that gut health had so much to do with mental clarity and emotional well-being. But that is how it is. When the body digests well, everything flows better. You sleep deeper, you think more clearly, and even pains seem less intense. I remember that I used to drink my coffee with caution, fearing the acid would play a trick on me. Now, that moment has become my space of calm. I prepare it unhurriedly, I sip it slowly, and I feel how my body accepts it without protest. It is my small ritual of daily well-being. I understood that, in our later years, it is not enough to eat well. We have to help the body absorb what it needs. A good diet is useless if the intestine cannot make use of it. And that is what collagen does. Strengthen from within so that every nutrient, every sip, every food truly fulfills its purpose. Sometimes caring for the gut is caring for the whole body, because when the center works well, everything else begins to align. Energy, sleep, mind, and even mood. What began as a simple digestive improvement became a complete renewal of how I feel each day. Benefit 4. Brings glow to hair, skin, and nails. There comes a moment in life when the mirror stops being an ally and becomes a reminder of the passage of time. Skin grows thinner, hair loses strength, and nails break easily. And although we all know aging is natural, no one teaches us how to do it while feeling good about our image. For years, I thought these changes were inevitable, that all that was left was to accept them. But like so many other things, the body still has ways to surprise us. Collagen does not only work in muscles or joints, it is also one of the most important foundations for healthy skin, hair, and nails. Imagine collagen as the structure that holds up a building. When that structure weakens, everything on top begins to crumble slowly. The same happens with our skin. As the years pass, the body produces less collagen, and that loss becomes wrinkles, sagging, and lack of radiance. But when we replenish it naturally, that structure is reinforced from within, returning firmness and vitality to the face. It is not about erasing the years, but about helping the skin carry them with pride. After a few weeks of taking my coffee with collagen, I began to notice that my skin felt different, softer, more elastic, as if it had recovered some of its natural tone. My wife was the first to notice. She told me my color looked more alive, that even my hands looked less dry. And the curious thing is, I made no other change. I only added that small ingredient to my daily routine. My hair seemed to respond as well. Over time, the scalp loses strength and the follicles weaken, making hair fall out or grow finer. Collagen provides the amino acids that strengthen those roots and improve circulation in the scalp. It did not give me a youthful mane, of course, but I did notice something more important. My hair stopped breaking, and it regained a natural shine. I remember a woman of 70 years who wrote to me after trying this combination. She said, "For the first time in years, my skin feels alive. I do not need makeup to look good. I just need good sleep and my coffee every morning." Her message made me think that beauty, at any age, is not about appearance, but about the sense of well-being we project when we feel at peace with ourselves. The same goes for nails. When the body has enough collagen, nails grow stronger, less brittle, and they stop splitting at the slightest hit. They are small details, yes, but together they build a deeper sensation, that of feeling whole again. Science explains it easily. Collagen reinforces the fibers that support the skin, improves water retention, and stimulates cell regeneration. That is why, when you maintain a consistent intake, results appear without visible effort. It is not an overnight change, but a slow, silent, natural rebuilding. Beauty after 60 is not vanity. It is dignity. It is looking in the mirror and recognizing yourself with gratitude. It is understanding that, although time leaves marks, we can still care for ourselves with respect and kindness. And sometimes, that care begins with something as simple as a well-prepared cup of coffee. Benefit 5. Reduces chronic inflammation and muscle pain. With the years, we learn that pain does not always have a clear cause. Sometimes it does not come from a fall or from exertion, but settles in slowly, without warning, and begins to accompany your every movement. It is a dull, deep pain that appears in the joints, in the shoulders, in the lower back. For a long time, I believed it was an inevitable consequence of aging. But over time, I discovered that, in reality, much of that discomfort comes from a silent enemy: chronic inflammation. Inflammation is the body's natural response to protect itself. When we are injured or sick, the body reacts by sending defenses to the affected area. But in maturity, that defense system can get confused and stay active without reason. It is as if the body were in constant war against itself. That internal inflammation, even if we do not see it, accelerates aging, weakens muscles, and drains energy. That is where collagen once again shows its power. Its peptides can lower the body's inflammatory markers. They help balance the immune response and reduce tissue damage. And when combined with the caffeine in coffee, there is an additional effect. Circulation improves, bringing oxygen and nutrients to the areas that need them most. In other words, the body stops fighting and begins to repair. I remember the case of Julius, a man of 78 years whom I met in a walking group. He had stopped going out because every step caused unbearable pain in his knees. When I told him what I was doing, he decided to try it. He did not expect much, just a little relief. 3 weeks later, he called me excited. He told me he had gone back to walking in the park, slowly, without a cane, and that for the first time in months he did not feel that burning in his legs. Walking without pain, he said, feels like owning my body again. His story moved me deeply because it reflected what many of us feel as we age. The desire to move without fear, to regain that independence. Pain steals from us little by little, and although the changes are not instant, the body responds when we feed it correctly. Every sip of that coffee with collagen is a small signal to the body. You can rest now. You can heal. Science confirms what many of us have experienced. Collagen peptides help reduce systemic inflammation, improve tissue elasticity, and support muscle regeneration. Over time, that translates into less stiffness, less fatigue, and a general sense of relief. It is not a painkiller that numbs pain, but a help that acts at the root of the problem. Today, when I go out walking and feel the ground under my feet, I remember the days when every step was a battle, and I am grateful to have found a way to move without fear again. Because after 60, every step without pain is a quiet victory over time. Benefit 6. Improves mental clarity and focus. There is something curious that happens with age. We can accept that muscles weaken or that our eyesight needs help, but when the mind starts to slow down, the fear is different. Forgetting names, losing the thread of a conversation, or reading a whole page without remembering what it said are signs many of us notice after 60. It is not just a matter of memory, but of mental energy. That spark that once lit our ideas starts to dim little by little. For a long time, I thought it was an inevitable process. However, as the months went by, I discovered that the body and mind are much more connected than we think. When the body is inflamed or tired, the mind also becomes heavy. And when our diet does not provide the nutrients the brain needs, concentration dissolves like steam from hot coffee. What surprised me was discovering that the same combination that helped my muscles could also help me think more clearly. Hydrolyzed collagen contains essential amino acids that support the regeneration of brain tissues and the proper functioning of neurotransmitters. And caffeine, which for years we considered merely a stimulant, plays a much more complex role. It improves blood flow in the brain and enhances the capacity to focus. But the secret is not to drink more coffee. It is to combine it with the right proteins to steady its effect. That mix reduces energy spikes and avoids the sudden crashes so many of us feel after a cup that is too strong. I remember Stephen, a man of 75 years, whom I met at a community center. He told me he had stopped reading because he could not focus for more than a few minutes. His mind jumped from one thought to another, and he ended up exhausted. When I told him about my experience, he decided to try collagen with his morning coffee. We saw each other again a month later, and his face had a different light. I went back to reading every morning, he told me. I no longer get distracted. I do not get tired. I feel like my mind is awake again. His story reminded me that lucidity does not depend only on age, but on how we care for the brain. Like a muscle, it needs nourishment and rest, and when it receives them, it responds. The body moves more freely, and the mind regains that clarity that makes us feel alive. I noticed it in myself as well. Before, when I finished breakfast, I felt clumsy and slow. Now, after my coffee with collagen, my thinking becomes clearer, words flow, and my memory supports me with less effort. It is a hard feeling to explain, like a fog lifting slowly. It is not about living longer, but about keeping the mind awake while we do. Because there is no point in going far if the mind fades along the way. And sometimes, keeping it alive does not require big changes, just small, conscious decisions. Coffee no longer just woke me up, it helped me think better. And with every sip, I remembered that youth is not in the years, but in the ability to keep learning. Benefit 7. Strengthens the heart and circulation. As the years pass, the heart becomes a clock that beats with more effort. Each beat feels heavier, and what used to be automatic begins to feel fragile. It is a reality many of us know. Climbing a hill, taking a short walk, or even laughing heartily can leave you out of breath. And it is not about willpower. It is that the body changes, arteries become less elastic, and blood needs more work to reach every corner. For a long time it was believed coffee could be an enemy of the heart, that it raised blood pressure and put health at risk. But the most recent science has shown something different. Coffee, in the right measure, contains natural antioxidants that help protect the arteries and improve circulation. And when combined with essential amino acids like those in collagen, the effects are surprisingly enhanced. Collagen's amino acids help maintain the flexibility of blood vessels, preventing them from hardening with age. That elasticity is vital, so the heart does not have to work overtime. They also improve nitric oxide production, a substance that widens arteries and supports more efficient blood flow. For its part, coffee's antioxidants combat oxidative stress, one of the main drivers of cardiovascular aging. Together, they act like a quiet team that reinforces the circulatory system from within. I remember perfectly the first time my doctor noticed the difference. I had gone for a routine checkup, not expecting anything special. When he measured my pressure, he kept looking at the device and then at me. "It is stable," he said, surprised. I had been on medication for years, and although I followed his indications, the values were not always good. But on that occasion, everything was in order. He asked me what had changed, and the only difference was my new routine of coffee with collagen. It was not a miraculous cure, of course, but a steady support that helped my body regain its natural balance. That experience made me understand that the heart also responds to daily care. It is not only about medications or strict diets, but about small habits that, added up over time, build health. Each cup became a way to thank my body for continuing to function, to give it the tools to carry on. With the years, I understood that keeping the heart healthy is not about making it work less, but making it work better. And that better happens when we nourish it, when we reduce inflammation, when we care for circulation, and when we let blood flow freely. Today, every time I walk without feeling my chest tighten, I think of that day at the clinic and I smile. My doctor could not believe my pressure had stabilized without additional medication, and neither could I. But I understood that sometimes the body just needs a little help to find its rhythm again. A small change can be the beginning of a great improvement. And when that change starts with something as simple as a cup of coffee, caring for the heart stops being an obligation and becomes a pleasure. Benefit 8. Increases the sense of well-being and reduces stress. As time goes by, we learn that well-being is not only about physical health, but also about inner peace. There are days when the body is fine, but the mind feels tired. Stress, worries, and the sense of loneliness can weigh more than any pain. And yet, the body and mind are always in dialogue. When one improves, the other responds. What I discovered with coffee and collagen was precisely that: balance. That mix, besides strengthening muscles and protecting joints, also influences mood. Collagen contains amino acids like glycine and proline, which help the body produce serotonin, the so-called happiness hormone. For its part, a moderate dose of caffeine stimulates the brain and improves concentration without generating anxiety when consumed with protein. It is a combination that awakens not only the body, but also the spirit. I began to notice the change without realizing it. I no longer got up in a rush, nor with that weight in my chest that sometimes accompanies mornings. Preparing coffee became a small ritual. The sound of hot water, the aroma spreading through the kitchen, the moment of adding collagen and stirring it calmly. It was as if each gesture had a purpose, as if that instant reminded me I was still here, living, feeling, breathing. I remember one morning in particular. The sun came in through the window. The steam from the coffee rose slowly, and for the first time in a long time I did not think about the past or about what I had to do next. I simply enjoyed that moment. Since then, each cup became a conscious pause, a way to thank my body for continuing to accompany me. Now every morning with my coffee feels like a moment of gratitude. Well-being does not always require big changes, or faraway trips, or impossible promises. Sometimes a simple routine is enough to reconnect with yourself. That cup you used to drink without thinking can become your space of calm, your reminder that you still have the power to care for yourself. Well-being does not always require big changes. Sometimes, a well-prepared cup is enough. Throughout this video, we have discovered how a gesture as simple as adding a natural ingredient to coffee can transform your health from many angles. It helps strengthen muscles, protect joints, improve digestion, rejuvenate skin, reduce inflammation, clear the mind, care for the heart, and elevate emotional well-being. 8 benefits that together give you back the sense of control over your own body. But beyond science, there is something deeper behind all this. Aging is not loss, it is adjustment. It is not surrendering to time, but learning to move with it. And sometimes, that adjustment begins with something as simple as a cup of coffee. For years, we have been told that aging is giving up, but in reality, it is an opportunity to rediscover what is essential. Eating calmly, sleeping better, moving without haste, caring for what enters the body and what remains in the mind. Collagen in coffee is not a fad. It is a reminder that the body, even in maturity, is still willing to improve if we give it the right tools. I recommend that before you start any supplement, you always consult your doctor. Each body is different and deserves to be treated with respect. Remember also to stay hydrated and to accompany your routine with movement and good nutrition. Change is not only in what you drink, but in how you care for yourself day by day. And if there is one thing I want you to keep from this message, it is this. Every sip is an opportunity to care for yourself, to thank the body that carries you, to honor the life that still flows within you. If this message helped you, share this video with someone who needs to regain energy and hope. Perhaps a simple cup will be the beginning of a great change for them as well. And before you go, tell me in the comments if you too have noticed changes in your body after 60. I would love to read your story, learn from your experience, and keep building together this community that ages with strength, with wisdom, and with gratitude. Because in the end, true youth is not measured in years, but in the desire to keep living fully, one day at a time, one cup at a time.